on your phone? There
It is now.
There we go. Brilliant. Fabulous, Joga. Thanks very much for joining. Really,
No worries.
Really, what I'd like to do is I'd love you to share what you're doing in your team, not only what you're doing now in the coronavirus period, and to grow your team, but what you have been doing, because you do a fabulous job of inspiring people. Your team love you. They work hard. They've built amazing businesses. Hannah and I in that group that sort of get together regularly, and it's been amazing to watch us bring in new people. And 6 months later, they get into team leader. We're congratulating them. A week later, there's another person that's getting to team leader that she brought in 5 months ago, and it's been consistent for the last year. And I think that's really started with you. What are you doing?
I think it's God blimey, there's quite a few people on here now. You get nervous. It's weird. Stages are fine because you can't see people's faces, but actually on Zoom you see everyone. So hello everyone. It's a strange one. I think we always say success is not overnight. So I think it's more important to look at what we did do 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, which set and embedded a culture of recruiting and supporting and mentoring people before mentoring was paid, or before supporting got holiday points, or before we got a reward for that. So human beings generally like to advance and do well, and if they can get other people to help them, then that creates the right kind of culture. And I want to go back before that, and what we done before that, the previous 5 years, Stuart, was that not supporting them and not mentoring them wasn't working. And we have a lot of leaders, and we used to hear it a lot, going, well, I got to GL and I got to SGL and I got to and I was never mentored. And that, we looked at that over 5 years, and I went to, you've been to Mastermind, Stuart, and it was Art Jonak who out there said, and he talked about something called survivor bias, which is you look at what happened and you look at the people who remained, and then you presume that's the way to do things. And if you Google survivor bias, you'll see it online. It's how we almost, won the aerial bombardment war in World War II. We looked at the planes that survived and the planes that didn't survive. We couldn't know, but we reinforced them correctly, because one person stood out and said, you keep looking at planes and saying, these ones are surviving because their wings have been shot and this has been shot. We need to reinforce the wings. And it was an interesting story. He was the only one who turned around and went, no, you're doing it wrong. You need to do it this way, because you're only looking at the people that survived. You're not trying to lower the death rate. You're just looking at how to get the people that survived and do more of that. And we do that sometimes in this business. We look at something and go, well, we were never mentored and we were never supported and we did okay. And it was like, well, you did, but what about the other 29 people that were on the getting started class with you? How did they do? And when Wayne came to us and said, 10 years ago, you're on a getting started training, of those 30, 2 of you have got to GL and one's got to SGL. And we were like, well, there should be more. And I think supporting and mentoring was coming through from people. You get inductions when you join a job, you get training periods when you have a new role, you have all those things. Just say hi. You're going to say hi? Yeah. I am fine. Say hi. So that's the usual working from home. As soon as they know you're on the call, they have to come and see you and do that. So the main thing being that whenever you're in a day job or any other kind of it, there's always a training program. And here, the training program can't be, I've got you £100, do the online training, go on getting started and good luck. And or get to 3 and that's it. So when we changed that culture, because we made so many mistakes, when we changed that culture, and people like Hannah and Alex and Danielle and Joe Jarvis, people like that came along and went, we're going to mentor some people, and it might take a bit longer, and it might mean that we're giving away our time and effort without getting paid for it, but we think in the long run that will make better results. And I was like, good, go and try it. And then when we did it, people came back and went, oh my God, your team's really building. It was like, no, they did it. They did the mentoring. I just watched and got people saying, oh, it's your team. And I'm like, yeah, but actually, no. I did the one thing I did right, Stuart. I got people better than me into the team. And that's the best tip I can give anyone. Just get people better than you into the team, and then use their ideas and use their brains. And that's how we now consistently roll off FTLs and TLs and 50 plus and 100 plus club members, whether it's a coronavirus or not. It's what we embedded 5 years ago, where everybody does their best to look after everybody else in the team. So hopefully that answers your question a little bit.
It does. I mean, speaking of the coronavirus, I know it's affected so many people. You've got your wife working in the NHS. You've got a young one, and a lot of your team are young mums, aren't they? They've got a lot of children and things like that. How has it affected them? Without the obvious, I know it's shell shock and that, but they're coming out of that now.
Yeah.
What are they doing to change things now?
I think they've got more familiar with what's going around. I just want to check you can definitely hear me okay through this, yeah? Sure, cool. The thing that's changed, I mean, yes, we're coming out of lockdown, but when you have a business or a part of my business is heavily reliant on mums with kids and family, they've either got their other half working at home or they've got kids at home and they're trying to juggle it. I think they've got into a bit more of a routine. The other thing that's happened is, if you look at this thing, it's not suddenly overnight we're going to be out of this pandemic. It's not going to be suddenly tomorrow you can go to McDonald's and you can order a milkshake and inside it is the cure to the coronavirus. So you just drink that and 55 million people are all going to be fine. It's not going to happen. I think we've got to that realization that we're going to have to live in this current world we're in. And if it takes a few more weeks or a few more months to kind of get used to that, then that's fine. It's just main thing that we've tried to do is try to keep people in, whether we're just doing a virtual Pizza Tuesday or a virtual games evening, or Hannah's very good at doing social art. She does like a Friday night disco they do for half an hour where they just dress up and have a theme, and you know, these cocktail party things that are coming up. We try and get people involved into everything, even if they're not achieving, even if they're not doing anything, because there are some really, really big hitters in the team who are doing amazingly well. People who used to qualify for holidays, you know, the holidays of a life used to qualify within 4 to 6 months, not 12 months. They used to do it in 4 or 6 months. They're now there with kids at home and they're not meeting people. They're not out whamming. They're not out neighbor lettering, and they're not building that pipeline. So they struggled. And once we kind of, as a group, have helped them understand that's okay. That is part of this life, and in 5-10 years time you'll have this journey and you'll talk about it, and people will go, you know, what was your biggest part of the journey? And they'll be like, did you have any problems getting to GL or SGL? They'll be able to say, well, one of the struggles was from March until September at least, we had the kids at home, and it was like having the longest.
Oh, he's frozen a bit for a second. Hopefully he'll come back in a second. From March to September, that is a long time with children, and I feel it every day. Sorry, Joga. You said from March to September.
Yeah, so from March to September this year, the kids are going to be pretty much at home with, it's going to be like a big summer holidays for the kids. And that 6 weeks of summer holidays has now become 6 months. And we're going to have to realize that productivity is not going to be where it's at, but we need to let these people know that they still matter. They're still human beings. We're all going through it. And when they come out the other side and they've got a bit more free time to themselves because kids go back to school, or the parents are kind of worked out a routine where they both can work and look after the kids or something along those lines, then they can then go and meet people. They can then go and start. And it's almost like resetting the business and resetting the mindset to realize this isn't forever, it's temporary. And you don't need to beat yourself up about it. There's loads of people going through this. And just because you see other people doing massively well, going, oh my God, so-and-so's already qualified for the holiday. Applaud them, congratulate them, tell them they've done well. You focus on what you need to do. And that, I think that's something that's really, really important. I found that over the last 12 weeks as well, having to be at home all the time. That it's important you focus on what you can control, but you still congratulate the ones that are doing well.
Yeah, it's unbelievable how fast some people are qualifying for these things. And you're right, you do. If you're a big hitter, especially, it's demoralizing. You need to realize that you can do, and that's all you can do. Absolutely.
It's look, if these people that are qualifying for holidays, which are doing amazingly well, I don't want to take that away, but unless they're taking you as the other half, don't worry about it. Unless you're going on the holiday, don't care. It's, you know, it's if your next door neighbor turned around and you went, oh, we're going to Mallorca next week for 4 weeks, you wouldn't be like, oh, that's terrible. I'm not going to Mallorca. You'd be like, okay, oh, good. Where are you going? But when it's in this business, someone else qualifies for a holiday, and we're like, oh, they've qualified, but I've not qualified, and I'm terrible. But if your neighbour took a holiday, you wouldn't think you're terrible because you're not going on holiday. Does that make sense? So why do we kick ourselves up the backside or something because somebody you've never met before qualified for a holiday that isn't in your team? And then we suddenly make ourselves feel worse by going, oh, I should be doing this, I should be doing that. No, don't worry. People are going to be doing holidays. People are, if someone has a nicer car than you don't turn around and go, oh, I'm a failure because they've got a Mercedes, they've got a new car. No, you're not. That can't be what you judge your being on. I hope it's not. It'd be a terrible life if we only judged ourselves on material gains and things we achieve. It'd not be a great life.
Where are you? Where are your team meeting new people when they can't do these winner minis and neighborhood letters? Where are they starting to pick up those new contacts from?
Any new contacts from what I've spoken to the team about, they are talking to, they're going through a simplified system of who are their customers currently and going through referrals and contacting customer current. Who are the people that said no before? So that list is going to be longer than customers. So who are the people who said no 3, 6, 9 months ago, 3, 6, 9 years ago? Who are the old winner mini forms they can go back to? Who are the old neighbor letters no for nows they can go through? The other thing they're doing is they're going into Facebook and speaking to people they haven't spoken to. They're going into whatever media form they've got where they've got people's names and contacts and they've just not contacted them for a while. And the message is to say, hey, how are you doing? How's things during this, weird pandemic period? And asking people how they are first rather than do anything else. But I'd be quite keen to say as well, if people went through their 30 names in there that we've never contacted, maybe 20, maybe 200 in some cases, and actually going through the names list is important, what you've currently got. So a lot of people are just going through their names in their phone and their contact details. I'm thinking this is a...
You there? I can hear you. No, he's frozen it. While we're waiting for Joga to come back, I've been listening to a guy called Jordan Adler, who's one of the mastermind speakers. And he was just saying that you only need one contact a day to make 365 a year. And if you develop relationships with those, you're bound to end up with 30 or 40 new distributors in your team. Sorry, I was just filling in while you were gone. Carry on.
Yeah, sorry, I've just realised, because I'm not on my tablet, this isn't connected to the Wi-Fi, and I'm like, oh, actually, it keeps trying to connect to the Wi-Fi, so I've taken it off now. It's just off 4G. So if you're going to do a call, folks, remember to charge your tablet. So I have two, actually, but one's my son's watching Godzilla on the other one while I have this call, so sometimes you've got to use tablet time to keep the kids thingy. And I'm sure Godzilla's a 15 or a 12, but I think at 4 he's very advanced for his age, so I don't mind him watching 12 adults or 15s. I hope it's not. I hope it's PG. And but yes, all these things as parents you worry about in your head, you have them going through in your life. But yes, I heard what you said about mastermind, and it's making those contacts. But I don't know if you got the bit there. We've got people in our phone we haven't contacted. Start with those. Start with the ones you haven't contacted that are in your phone. And if you don't know why they're in your phone, message them. Say, I've got your number in my phone. I don't know why, but I just want to check on you and see you're okay. And start with those kind of messages. Start with a human message. And there's enough people out there. And we had a lot of people who did whams and neighbor letters, and they're then struggling to make contacts, but they haven't actually contacted people in their phone. So great story yesterday. Deb, Stuart, if you know the Hans and Deb Glover, they've been homeschooling and working thing, and then Deb went, right, I'm going to get my head around this, and she's been putting off calling this pile of wham forms, and she's doing 12 a day, and she got through to this guy who she met in 2015 who said he was interested in the business. She hadn't followed him up 48 hours later, forgotten. It's now been 5 years. She rang him up. She went, are you still interested in making some extra money? He went, yeah, sure. Double gold and a partner. Now, that's 5 years too late. She contacted him. He could have been, whatever level. But she went, I've been putting this off for 3 months. I've not been, doing this and then going, right, I will get to them. She finally gets around to them. And after a week of doing them, look, all the others, they aren't answering or aren't picking up. But this one guy, he was interested 5 years ago. He's interested now. He's still doing the taxi job. She's written some notes on there. And I just thought it's fascinating that they're almost GLs, and they're 200 plus, they're 300 plus, and they know what they're doing. And they were still like, I don't want to ring up the WAM forms. I don't, putting it off. And suddenly they did one, and they're in those forms, in our contact list, in our phone book, people we have not connected to is a future TL, is a future team leader, is a STL somewhere sitting in there. And we should all be able to say, we've contacted everyone in our phone, we've contacted everybody, and then this time next year, you can do the story on stage saying, here's someone who joined in the coronavirus, they're a team leader. Here's someone who joined in the coronavirus, they're 50 plus. Here's someone who joined in the coronavirus, they're 100 plus. And I think that is the belief that we try and put through the team. And, we're seeing it now. There's team leaders and future team leaders who've joined after Express Day in March, and they're going through the business well. And you only need to find one or two of them, Stuart. You don't need to find hundreds. Just one or two good people can really change your business overnight.
So, Joga, there's a few people that wanted to ask you some questions.
Okay.
With Trish. Trish, do you want to unmute yourself?
My question.
Trish.
Hello, Trish.
Hello. Hi, Joga. It's lovely to see you again. So,
Hi.
You might have covered some of this already, because I said during this time, what have you found difficult? And then what did you do to motivate yourself and your team? But you've kind of talked about that anyway, a little bit. But has it been difficult even for you to be motivated? What exactly have you done?
I think that was probably 12 to 14. While my wife was working kind of full on in London, that 12-week period where I'm home all the time, and we could have had our son in nursery, but we kept him out until recently. The hardest thing was actually getting my head around that what I thought was going to be normal is not going to be normal anymore. Once you kind of get used to, okay, it's going to be different. It's fine. We're in a business where we expect people to change all their services, but yet we can't change our own mind and our own habits most of the time. And we're like, oh, well, I just want everyone else to change, but I won't. And it's like, no, you're going to have jobs. You're going to have to change. So I got into a 30-minute a day routine where I spoke to my wife, I had a chat with my son, and I just get 30 minutes to myself where I'd either go and read a book or listen or an audio or something. And it was 30 minutes. Sometimes I got an hour, just time to me. That was just about me. And it was selfish. If I wanted to sit there and do nothing, I could sit there and do nothing. But it was mainly about what the books I can read, what the audios I can read. This is not the first pandemic we've ever had. We're all actually like, oh my God, no, it's happened before. So let's read up on that. I look at other leaders around the company or the world and I go, what are they listening to? And I started listening to their mindset. And suddenly now I've actually listened to more books in 12 weeks than I probably read last year or listened to last year. I'm an audio person, so because I read very slowly. So whereas everyone's like book of the month, but the next month comes and I still haven't finished the other book because I read so slowly. But an audio I can get through. If it says it's 12 hours, I just have to listen for 12 hours and I can split that over 30-minute or 1 hour chunks. And I started getting the habit of every time I could get 10, 15 minutes away, I'd go and listen to a bit more. I invested in some earpods so I could, have the phone down, still listen, still be able to do, I'm loading the dishwasher. I'm doing all these things around the house and I can still be listening to stuff. I don't need to be just loading the dishwasher and washing the car or whatever it is. I can be doing other productive stuff. And so that got my mindset right. That really did help because I found it very, very tough to kind of not being able to leave the house, not go and meet people, not kind of socialize and just be at home. And had to keep reminding myself I wasn't stuck at home, I was safe at home. And when I changed that mindset, I think it made a lot of difference. And I think that in a business, my number one tip to this is in a business where we keep expecting people to change their services, but yet we won't change our mindset. Maybe we should change our mindset and then more people will change their services would be a much better outlook on life rather than look at what we can do rather than
say that again. I like
what
that.
others can do.
Say that again.
So in a business where we want people to change their services, why don't we go first and change our mindset and get the right attitude, and then other people will fall into place and the right ones will change their services. Too often I hear, oh, so-and-so, I saved them so much money, they could have changed. Oh, they should have switched. And my immediate response is, okay, fair enough. And then I send them a message to go, what was the last book you read? Have you read Big Al's book on utilities? Have you read this book on closing? Have you read this book on no, but like I was saving them £800.
I love that.
Why didn't they change? That's all they reply, and I'm like, because you're not prepared to change your mindset. You won't change your mindset, so why should they change services? So
Helen Frank, you've got a question, haven't you?
Helen, oh my God, Helen's on.
Hi Joga, how you doing?
Hello Helen, I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. They're not actually my questions. I put this out on our group chat last night, so
Yeah.
I will ask the question just in case I know these guys are both on, but first of all, a question from Ian Christie. What's the best way to open a phone conversation with a new prospect whom you haven't spoken to before?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's it. Hello, how are you?
Ian, have you got that?
I guess that's the best way to open the... I would use that. I don't know, maybe other people use something else. I'd be wanting to have a conversation, and if it was a prospect, I guess that's a completely cold prospect who you haven't spoken to before. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
There'd be a way they got that number or something. There'd be a contact through someone. I'd either try and use that. I'd be Helen, hi Helen, it's Joga. I got your number through Stuart. We've got a mutual friend called Stuart Edmondson, and I wanted to give you a call. Is now a good time? I want to make sure that it's a good time. Hello, how are you? Are you okay to talk for a minute? Yes, brilliant. I got your number through Stuart Edmondson, and I was talking to him the other day, and I had a business idea, and he said I should give you a call. Are you okay to have a chat for 2 minutes? It's got to be something that very quickly in the first 10 seconds builds some rapport, because if you just ring someone out, you know this better than anyone, and if you just ring someone cold, it's going to feel very cold. But if you can make the connection, so hopefully they got the number from somewhere.
Yeah.
And if they got the number, look, hi Helen, I randomly saw your van the other day in the street, I took the number off and I just wanted to give you a call and see how business is. I live in so-and-so, and you drove past. So there's got to be a connection, whether it's physical, that you know somebody, or geographical, you saw their van parked in the high street and you live in the same high street or thing. There's got to be that connection. Otherwise that person, if someone rang you cold and they just went into a talk and a sell, you'd struggle. If someone said, oh, I got your number from somebody and they said I should recommend you, and there's a connection, I think they're going to be more willing to listen to you.
Yeah.
But I'm not a specialist on cold, so I'm not a specialist on cold.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I've been doing some calls for people in my phone. You're absolutely right. I've got hundreds of people in my phone, and half of them I don't even know who they are. And I've just done some calls, and it's like, hi, my name's Helen. I've got your number and your name. I have no idea who you are. Yeah. And they're going, well, I don't know who you are either. And then we just had a conversation how we met, and it's just flown from there. So
yeah, I think that's a really good one as well.
That's actually quite good fun, in all fairness.
Yeah, because they must have found their way onto your phone somehow, and even if they don't know and you don't remember how, it's still going to be a very civil conversation because you're not.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I like that.
Okay. Well, that's Ian's question. I've got another question from Jackie. How would you suggest we can improve the chance of people keeping appointments, accepting that obviously some people will always hide behind the couch. Obviously, yeah.
Wow. I reckon if we suss that one out, Helen, you and I would both be in and outs, wouldn't we? It'd be like,
no.
Oh, blimey. I guess that's in the remember the good old days when we could go and see people like 13 weeks ago and actually go to their house, the good old days. The way to firm up an appointment is the crazy system of repeating again. Helen is definitely going to be there. Yeah, make sure, I know you're very busy and I don't want to have to reschedule. Refirming up the appointment with them makes a difference. If some people want to text before they go, they can do to make sure they're going to be there. It's a bit different now because it's remote. So I can tell you what in remote is a case of making sure that you've got another appointment to call. So normally you would do one appointment, then have an hour's gap because you need to travel. Well, now you don't need to travel. So if you're at home and you're making appointments, my suggestion would be to make 2 appointments for a similar slot. So if you're doing one at 7 and one at 7:30, or one at 8 and one at 8:30, so that if one isn't there, then the other one you can follow straight into. And if one is there, then the second one you can always say, sorry, send them a text saying I'm going to be 30 minutes late. Can we meet at 9 instead of 8:30? And you can do the presentation within that 60 minutes. I think if you only have one appointment and you're relying on that one, then and that isn't there, it's really frustrating. And I've been there. So if you've got 2 lined up, then at least you're thinking, well, at least you got a 50-50 chance of someone being there. But there isn't a way of, unfortunately, there isn't a way of making somebody have more integrity than they should have, is my best answer. If people are going to hide behind the couch, then when they might sign up as a customer and then cancel the minute you walk out the door anyway. And do you really want to meet that kind of person that doesn't turn up to meetings and doesn't show up or doesn't come to and when you look at it that way, it's sometimes you want people and customers and prospects to have some kind of integrity, and maybe they've shown you their integrity by hiding behind the curtains, and we should be glad they didn't open the door, is the other way of looking at it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, absolutely. I think these days, you know, because it is a phone appointment, I'm not finding that people are cancelling so much, or people are rearranging, because obviously something happens and something comes up, and obviously we're all kind of like working day to day at the moment, aren't we, in some respects? You know, and other responsibilities, you've got things going on, so it's I know it's the magic.
Yeah, it is a tough one.
Yeah.
No, there isn't a magic answer, but there is the one of the tips I always give as well is the state. So like when you're going to see someone in the car, I remember when I used to, yes, there's audio you can listen to that can get you fired up. For me, it's music. I like certain pieces of music, so I listen to one of my favorite current songs or something before I go and see someone. Then if they're not there, and then I've had this, you know, they answer the door or thingy, you get back in your car, and even if you've had a bad appointment, you get back in your car and hopefully that song's still playing or something else that you like, and you suddenly can have your mood lifted by music that you enjoy listening to, rather than being stuck in that headspace. Oh, that was terrible. You suddenly put on a happy song that you enjoy at any time of day, or something that has a very good memory for you, whether it was your first wedding song or as a song, you know, you saw for your kids like, and they're like younger, or they played on their 16th. You play that, music links to your brain, it links to the neuro connections that make you feel better and happier, and you can change the state. So you might feel like, yeah, they didn't turn up, or oh my God, that, you know, rather than a no-show on the phone nowadays, we just have people no answer. They just don't answer the phone. You go, okay, they didn't answer the phone. Let's have 30 seconds of a really good song that I like listening to, and then get back on the phone again. So that's another thing that I like doing.
Cool. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Joga.
No worries.
Before last quick question for you. The entire, you can have a look at that list of 37 people on there. I think some people haven't yet started that. They may be nervous. There may be a million reasons why they haven't. What's your top tip? What's your big advice on how to actually change them?
As in started doing remote appointments, or pick someone on this call or in your upline or cross line that you like spending time with, ask them for 15-20 minutes to go and practice it. So one of the things we're very keen on is, if you haven't started, go and practice the appointment. Go and see how easy it is. Go and practice it on another utility warehouse distributor. So you're not doing a full-on practice, but then once you're comfortable with the equipment and you're comfortable and you realize the technology is not all that, and you realize that, you know, you can get to SGL and not realize how to put your phone on Wi-Fi and not charge your tablet for a meeting that I asked Stuart about an hour ago already. All those things that, like, you think we all have it together at GL and SGL level. We don't, you know, Lisa's on here, Helen's on there. We don't have it all together, but we make the best of what we've got. And even when you get to where you want to get to, whatever, you realize you still haven't got it together. You just made the best of what you've got. So at the moment, this is what we've got. So make the best of it. Get familiar with it, because even if the McDonald's vaccine for coronavirus comes out tomorrow, I still think there's people that aren't going to want us in their houses until things clear. So you need to get good on remote. You need to get good on remote because it saves time on traveling. It saves time on the fuel. It saves time on that you could be doing other things. It just so much more effective and so much more productive, the remote appointments, that just get your head around them. Just get used to them. Go and practice. Make mistakes, and then you'll realize that you don't need to be perfect to use this stuff. You don't need to be great to start, but you need to start to be great. And that's the thing that you have to realize. You don't have to be 100% familiar with all this. Just find somebody you like, find somebody in your upline or cross line that you like working with, spend 15-20 minutes with them. That'll end up being half an hour. Practice having a cup of coffee and a keyboard in front of you without spilling your coffee on the keyboard. Whatever it is, those things that I've done that make me think, oh, I shouldn't do that next time. Do those things, because you know what, they you know, they're more from your mistakes than you ever will from successes. And I'm a great believer in that. You'll learn far more from your failures and mistakes than you will from your successes, because you remember them. But also own them. You'll make them, and we all do. So go and learn this new equipment. Go and speak to someone and get practice, whether it's Stuart or Lisa or Helen or anyone who's on this call that can support you. And just go and spend 30 minutes. Stuart, I know Stuart would happily go through this, how to do a remote sign up with you. And then you'd be like, oh, I'm more confident. The next time, throw a bit of a curveball in so you get better. And the next time, actually go, well, let's practice on an existing customer and show them what we're doing, so that we can actually show them, well, this is what we're doing now, so we could probably help your friends. But actually, what I want to do is get you a free bill and get you, you know, if you can pass referrals on, we can get you £50 off your bill. And then when you actually show your existing customers how easy it is, that you haven't got to go around their mum's house or their nan's house or their sister-in-law's house, and you can do it from home. They go, oh, go and speak to so-and-so, go and speak to so-and-so, go and speak to so-and-so. And you don't care whether they're in Preston, whether they're in Bournemouth, whether they're in Wales, whether they're in Scotland. And then that's how you can start building the pipeline of actual appointments with real customers. It's just going back to your existing customers and saying, look, let's get you a free bill. Let's show you the system. But you need to get competent on the system, and you need to practice. So, you know, everyone on here can ring Stuart as far as I'm concerned. But, you know, ring whoever you want and get practicing on the system, and you'll realize it's not as scary as you think it is. It never is. But that would be my top tip.
Thank you so much for sharing some of your time with us. I'll leave you to go back to and look up whether it's PG or under 18.
Well, I hope it's PG. I'm going to sit with him now. So.
Thank you.
The weirdest thing is he is with someone. He's with my mum, who's on another tablet in London, zooming in to watch him while he watches a movie. That's how our babysitting is done. And so now I can go and physically sit with him. So
cool. Well, have a fabulous weekend. And
cool. You too, Stuart. Take care, guys.
Thanks.
See you later. Thanks.
Bye.
Yes. Bye.